I'm Tanner. I'm a geology master's student at Bowling Green State University, and today I'm going to be reacting to what would a magnitude 15 earthquake look like. So I'm pretty excited to start this, and let's go.
This is a question from Alex, who asks, what if a Richter magnitude 15 earthquake were to hit America at, let's say, New York City? What about a Richter 0 or 25?
Okay, so this is pretty interesting. So one thing that's really fun about like the Richter scale is that it's logarithmic. So something that's like a Richter magnitude 1 would be 10 times the power of something that's like a 0. So for things that you can feel, anything above like a 1, if you were like very, very close to the center where it started, you could maybe feel it. Once you get to about a 5, it starts to have the chance of causing substantial damage, especially if your infrastructure isn't the best. And by the time you get to like a 7, an 8, or a 9, you can cause like catastrophic damage. So for one that's about an 8, this happens about once a year. For one that's a 9, this would happen maybe like once or like 3 times per century. For things below it, like for instance, things that are like 5s or 6s, maybe you have a couple hundred happen per year, and then maybe things that are 3s, you have like thousands. And there are probably like many of them that happen that we don't even know is happening because we just don't have the seismic detection infrastructure that's sitting around. It's pretty interesting.
Well, given that a magnitude 25 quake would destroy the sun if one happened there, it would certainly destroy New York City. But we're getting...
Yeah, okay, also, I'm not a seismologist, so this part is like very interesting to me, like how much that would actually move things and what more intense levels of vibration above like a 9 would actually entail for...
The Richter scale, which has technically been replaced by the moment magnitude scale, measures the strength of an earthquake. Since we usually hear about earthquakes with ratings somewhere between 3 and 9, a lot of people probably think of 10 as the top of the scale and 0 as the bottom. In fact, there is no top or bottom to the scale.
Okay, that's really interesting. I did not know about that. Yeah, so at least on Earth, you know, the most I ever hear of things is maybe it being like a 9.5, and that's like for like really crazy stuff.
But even if 10 isn't the top of the scale, it might as well be. A magnitude 9 earthquake already measurably alters the rotation of the Earth. The 2 magnitude 9 plus earthquakes this century both altered the length of the day by a tiny but measurable fraction of a second.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense, though. If you have something big shifting, it could change Earth's rotation. You know, this reminds me of like when China built a huge dam that changed how water was distributed. I forget exactly how, but like how there was a huge dam that held up a ton of water in a huge area of China, and that this actually impacted the length of the day. So I'm sure that the like smaller things that people do impact the length of the day. But those ways are probably like less noticeable. Maybe driving your car would impact it, just like not enough to notice.
In order to get to magnitude 10, you'd need a ruptured fault line 3,500 kilometers long, and a magnitude 11 quake would require a fault that went halfway around the world. A magnitude 15 earthquake would be 1,000,000 times more powerful than that, and involve the release of enough energy to evaporate all the water on Earth. Though if that happened, we could rest easy knowing the earthquake couldn't cause any tsunamis. Going a few steps further...
Okay, yeah, so as you said earlier, this is like not going to happen, but it's still very interesting. Thinking about like the physical limits of what kind of earthquakes can exist on Earth. Maybe one thing that makes me curious about is like, oh, if there's like a super Earth somewhere that maybe they could have something like this if they had enough like radioactive elements pushing plates around, allowing plates to release energy like that.
A magnitude 18 earthquake would release nearly 10 to the 32 joules of energy,
okay,
which is
so
roughly the
just
gravitational binding energy of the Earth. To put it another way,
not
the
happen.
Death Star caused a magnitude 18 earthquake on Alderaan. You could, in theory, talk about a more powerful earthquake on Earth, but in practice all it would mean is that the expanding cloud of space debris would be faster and hotter. The Sun, with its higher gravitational binding energy, could have up to a magnitude 24 quake. This is about the energy release you would get if you packed the entire volume of...
I really like the sound effects. I'm going to go back just to hear that.
Up to a magnitude 24 quake. This is about the energy release you would get if you packed the entire volume of Jupiter with hydrogen bombs and detonated them all at once. The most powerful quakes in the known universe, which occur in super heavy neutron stars, are about this magnitude.
Okay, that's really interesting. I'm not huge like planetary scientist, but it's really crazy to think about earthquakes and like non-terrestrial systems. You know, like I guess like it's weird to think of like an earthquake happening on well, I guess it wouldn't be an earthquake, but like a starquake happening on something like this. And I guess like what would really cause something like that to happen, and also just like how it would like where the source of energy would be very interesting.
Magnitude. A magnitude 25 quake would explode the sun. Hold on, we're spending a lot of time thinking about things that are large and violent. What about the bottom end of the scale? Is there such a thing as a magnitude 0?
Oh, I've never
earthquake?
thought about that.
Yes, in fact, the scale goes all the way down past 0. Let's take a look at some low magnitude earthquakes with a description of what they would be like if they hit your house. A magnitude 1 quake releases the same energy as dropping a partially loaded cement truck from 10 meters onto the street in front of your house. A magnitude 0 earthquake is equivalent to the Dallas Cowboys American football team running at full tilt into the side of your neighbor's garage. A magnitude -1 quake.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah. So I'm sure like right now, me sitting in my apartment, I'm experiencing like something like very similar to this. Maybe like my steps or whenever I get out of bed would like cause maybe like a magnitude like -4 or something. That's very interesting. Yeah, and I really like how XKCD makes like Randall Monroe, I believe this guy that makes these things like very tangible, so you can just kind of like, I don't know, think about them in very human terms. It's very fun.
Is like a single American
Good science communication.
football player running into a tree in your yard. A cat falling off a dresser would have a magnitude of -2. A cat knocking your cell phone off your nightstand would have a magnitude -3. Magnitude -4 is like a penny falling off of a dog. Magnitude -5 is a key press on an IBM Model M mechanical keyboard. -6 is a key press on a lightweight keyboard. -7 is a single feather fluttering to the ground. A fine grain of sand falling onto the pile at the bottom of a tiny hourglass would be a magnitude -8 quake. And let's jump all the way down to magnitude -15.
It's gonna be like a
drifting
dust.
mote of dust coming
Okay.
to rest gently on a table. Sometimes it's nice not to destroy the world for a change.
Okay, that is like a fun contrast to a lot of his other stuff where everything just explodes.